There are moments in the NBA where numbers on a financial spreadsheet become as powerful as points scored on the court, and the Boston Celtics are entering one of those rare windows. What might look like salary cap math to the casual eye is, in truth, the blueprint of a dynasty in the making. The coming seasons will test not only the talent on the parquet, but also the vision of the front office. And if the past is any indication, Brad Stevens is preparing to take advantage of a once-in-a-generation opportunity to reshape how this team dominates the league. The question is not whether the Celtics have the talent to compete for championships, but whether their financial and roster planning can unlock an even longer window of greatness. To understand the stakes, we need to look at the delicate balance the Celtics are striking with the luxury tax. As of now, Boston sits just a little over $12 million above the $187.9 million tax line, a number that may seem overwhelming until you consider that at the start of the season the team was more than $40 million over that same threshold. That rapid financial maneuvering is not accidental. It reflects a clear strategy to shed penalties, position themselves for flexibility, and still maintain a roster capable of challenging anyone in the league. The Celtics have already reduced their repeater tax exposure to around $40 million, and the front office is carefully weighing whether to push even further, perhaps even ducking below the tax entirely. Doing so would reset the repeater clock after 2 clean years under the line, a reset that could redefine Boston's ability to reload without being shackled by the league's harshest financial penalties. But this is not simply a matter of saving money. By escaping the apron thresholds, the Celtics unlock weapons that few other teams can use. They would gain the freedom to absorb more salary than they send out in trades, a crucial edge when rival franchises are desperate to unload contracts. They could also wield the $14.1 million non-taxpayer mid-level exception, a tool that can transform a good roster into a terrifyingly deep one. Imagine a team already boasting Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown suddenly able to outbid contenders for a high-level rotation piece without needing to sacrifice assets. That is the real prize, the invisible advantage hidden within the accounting columns. The names being floated are not random either. Analysts have speculated on moves such as flipping a contract like Anfernee Simons, currently set to earn $27 million on an expiring deal, into smaller pieces that align perfectly with Boston's goals. A 3-team trade scenario could turn a single player into a combination of assets that extend flexibility into multiple seasons. Even rumors linking the Celtics to younger role players, such as Terrence Mann, raise fascinating questions. Would Boston sacrifice short-term stability for long-term maneuverability, knowing that the reset of the tax system could open up an era of aggressive acquisitions in the future? Brad Stevens has already proven that he will make the unexpected move, the one that appears impossible until it is suddenly official. Few predicted the escape from more than $30 million of Chris Esping's contract without surrendering a haul of draft picks, yet the front office engineered it quietly, leaving observers stunned. The pattern is clear. The Celtics are not just planning around the present, they are building pathways that the rest of the league has not yet imagined. And this brings us to the second layer of the plan, one that operates far away from the headlines about superstars. While the financial framework is being rebuilt, the Celtics are simultaneously investing in what could become their most underrated advantage, the development of their center rotation. It is easy to dismiss names like Neemias Queta, Luka Garza, or Amari Williams, but history teaches us that this organization sees value where others see expendable pieces. Luke Kornet was once an NBA afterthought, yet Boston helped him transform into a player who earned a $40 million contract from San Antonio. Daniel Tice extended his career beyond expectations because the Celtics found ways to maximize his strengths. This is not luck. It is a philosophy. Consider Queta, a player who only recently fought his way from a 2-way contract into a standard roster spot. Last season he appeared in 60 games and carved out real minutes in a system that demands precision. The coaching staff believes he has the frame and instincts to evolve into a legitimate rim protector, while his own words reveal a hunger to expand his game. Queta has openly committed to improving free throw consistency, increasing aggressiveness, and even stepping into 3-point shots with confidence when the opportunity arises. For a team that may choose to reset its tax structure, the timing could not be better. A reliable, low-cost center option like Queta would allow Boston to compete at the highest level while avoiding massive luxury bills. Luka Garza and Xavier Tillman also remain in the mix, giving the Celtics a trio of players who might not appear threatening on paper, but who could deliver far more than expected. The logic is simple but powerful. If even one of these players emerges as a consistent contributor, Boston secures stability at a notoriously expensive position without breaking the financial model. If two develop, the Celtics would transform a perceived weakness into a weapon of efficiency. And if none succeed, the team still retains the flexibility to pursue external solutions, bolstered by the very cap maneuvers described earlier. It is a calculated gamble, but one made from a position of strength rather than desperation. The broader story here is about alignment. The Celtics are synchronizing financial discipline with roster development, ensuring that every dollar saved translates into future opportunity. This is not about cutting costs for the sake of ownership. It is about leveraging the rules of the collective bargaining agreement to create a cycle of competitiveness that other teams will envy. By maneuvering just below critical tax lines, they can position themselves to add key veterans when windows open, while simultaneously developing undervalued talent that blossoms under the guidance of championship culture. And the payoff, if successful, is enormous. Imagine a Boston Celtics team in the 2027 season, free of repeater penalties, armed with trade flexibility, wielding mid-level exceptions, and still boasting a young core supported by homegrown contributors at critical positions. That is not just a playoff team, it is a perennial contender with the capacity to extend its championship window deep into the decade. Fans often measure success in rings and banners, but the real groundwork is happening now, in the quiet but deliberate moves of the front office. The most dangerous part for the rest of the league is that Boston is building in silence, hiding power in plain sight. So while the headlines may focus on Tatum's scoring, Brown's explosiveness, or Porzingis' health, the deeper narrative is about strategy, patience, and foresight. The Celtics are not merely playing the game, they are rewriting the rules of how to sustain excellence in a modern NBA landscape defined by financial traps. Every trade rumor, every contract adjustment, every hidden gem in the rotation is a piece of a larger puzzle. And if history has taught us anything, it is that when Boston sees the full picture, they almost always find a way to finish it with another banner hanging in the rafters of TD Garden. The last chapter ended with Boston quietly maneuvering behind the curtain, reshaping its financial foundation, and developing hidden gems in the frontcourt. But just when you thought the strategy might simply be about patience and subtlety, a new possibility has emerged, one that could tilt the balance of the roster in a way few would have predicted. This is not just about shaving dollars or finding a stopgap solution. This is about whether Brad Stevens is preparing to make another one of those moves that nobody sees coming until is already complete. Anfernee Simons has become a centerpiece of speculation, and not without reason. Acquired less than 2 months ago from Portland in the trade that sent two-time All-Star Drew Holiday to the Trail Blazers, Simons was never just a throw-in. He brought scoring, versatility, and the promise of being part of the bridge between Boston's present and its future. Yet the NBA is rarely linear, and the Celtics' current situation demands creativity. With Jason Tatum expected to recover at his own pace, Boston may embrace what appears to be a transition year on the surface, but is in reality an opportunity to reset the financial ledger and extend the dynasty window further into the decade. That is why Simons' role, while valuable, is not guaranteed. NBC Sports Boston's Josh Canu introduced a scenario that has ignited curiosity. What if the Celtics flip Simons to the Chicago Bulls for Nikola Vucevic, a two-time All-Star center, on an expiring deal? At first glance, it might seem unspectacular, yet the implications are massive. Both contracts expire at season's end, but the value of Vucevic lies in what he brings immediately and what his departure could allow in the near future. By making such a move, Boston would cut closer to escaping the luxury tax line, potentially saving upwards of $12 million, while also addressing a roster hole that has loomed since the departures of Kristaps Porzingis, Luke Kornet, and very likely Al Horford. The beauty of this idea is that it operates on two levels. On the court, Vucevic remains productive, averaging over 18 points and 10 rebounds per game last season, while shooting a career-best 53% from the floor and an astonishing 40% from beyond the arc. For a 35-year-old entering his 15th season, those numbers are not signs of decline, but of evolution. He has reshaped his game into that of a modern stretch big, capable of spacing the floor while anchoring the paint. In a rotation currently relying on unproven players like Neemias Queta and Luka Garza, adding Vucevic would give Boston stability while still allowing the younger bigs to grow without the pressure of being instant saviors. Off the court, the implications are even more intriguing. A Simons for Vucevic trade would signal that Boston is willing to sacrifice short-term flash for long-term architecture. It would clear a pathway to be under the luxury tax in the near future, potentially resetting repeater penalties by the 2027 season. Imagine entering that year, not only with a fully healthy Tatum, but with the financial muscle to absorb contracts, sign impact players using exceptions, and extend the championship core without crippling penalties. That is not just a trade, it is a calculated investment in sustainability. Skeptics might ask why the Celtics would part with a 26-year-old scorer for a veteran on the back end of his career. The answer is that Boston is not making moves in isolation. Stevens has already proven he is unafraid to trade recently acquired players, as seen when Georges Niang was flipped just weeks after arriving. Every decision fits into a wider mosaic, one where timing and financial precision matter as much as raw talent. By turning Simons into a player like Vucevic, Boston is not closing a door, it is opening several. It gains flexibility, stability in the present, and the chance to make even bigger swings in the future. The hidden story is that these decisions are not about this single season. They are about crafting an environment where Boston can strike when the moment is right. If Vucevic anchors the center position and Boston resets its books, the team could then chase a younger star big man through trade or free agency in the next cycle, armed with cap advantages and a reputation as the most stable contender in the league. Fans may focus on whether Vucevic can handle playoff battles today, but the front office is already envisioning who might be wearing green and white 3 years from now. That is why this rumor cannot be dismissed as just another trade idea. It is part of a broader pattern where Boston turns moves that appear modest into turning points. No one expected the Holiday trade, no one foresaw how quickly the Porzingis exit would be leveraged into depth, and no one predicted how efficiently Boston could shed over $30 million of obligations without sacrificing core assets. The Simons question is simply the next puzzle piece. Whether or not this exact deal materializes, the message is clear. Boston is willing to reshape the roster today in order to dominate tomorrow. In the end, what matters is not whether the trade is flashy, but whether it builds the foundation of another banner. Vucevic might not be a long-term star, but his presence could stabilize a critical position, lighten the tax burden, and create the exact conditions Boston needs for its next leap forward. The Celtics are not chasing headlines, they are chasing history, and every move, even the ones that appear simple, may carry the weight of another championship legacy.